Madapple by Christina Meldrum. And think about this one for a minute. Okay, Madapple by Christina Meldrum. Okay. We follow the about 5 to 6 years of our main character Aslag's life. And I would give a last name, but she doesn't really have one. So we won't bother with that. Her mother's name is Marin, who has a sister named Sarah, who has 2 kids named Susan and Rune. And those are our main characters that we really see during this very long novel. Now, Aslag was born and raised without real people around. Her mother didn't really interact with society. She didn't have telephone. She didn't have TV. She didn't have any of the things we were raised with. She grew up going out and picking a lot of herbal stuff, berries, and stuff out in the country. Modern conveniences did not exist in her world. She didn't go to school. She was taught by her mother. It wasn't even the curriculum for school that you and I might be used to. It was what her mother believed she should learn. So it's more like she was raised in like the 1600s time period instead of the 2001, 2000 where that she lived in. Now the book goes back and forth between this time period, the time period she was raised in, and what was the current time period, I think 2007, when she's on trial for murder. And what's happening, the explanations, and how when people look at how she was raised and what she did because of the way she was raised compared to society's norms, they don't understand it and they want to blame her for things that weren't her fault, weren't part of her world. And her mother believed, whether incorrectly or correctly, that she had no father. She claimed that she had no father. She was some sort of miracle birth. And while this is the idea of her mother, how she was born, how she was raised, and then trying to find out about her past by seeking out her mother's sister and her and everything, and versus how she was raised, and then also the concept of the trial and people seeing how our natural beliefs of how she was raised, how we would judge. It's an interesting plot line and concept with this kind of old world meets the new world, and how would a person react if they hadn't grown up experiencing what we experience all the time. It's fascinating. It's also overly done and melodramatic and gets old. The story's too long. She concentrates too much on little things. Lots of people comment about how Stephen King will spend too long describing how a tree looks. Unfortunately, Christina Meldrum does this with everything. A lot of the comparisons are to flowers and plants. Like a whole chapter will be named after a specific type of herb or root that her mother taught her about, and this will be kind of the theme, whatever it is. Like if it's a venomous one, that'll be the theme for the chapter, which goes on and on to ad nauseum, as they say, boredom on the concept and the chapter, to where after a while you're pushing yourself to make it through the book. And plus some of the concepts, like the virgin birth, and towards the end of it, a relationship she gets into, are uncomfortable, and the possibilities of what might be involved to get very uncomfortable, and for some people. And I don't know if, for me, it was almost uncomfortable, and not another aspect that made me not enjoy the book as much as I might have. Um, in terms of if you're interested in law, also if you're interested in ag stuff, actually it's very fascinating. A lot of the ag stuff it gets into, and could be an interesting read. I couldn't get into it. I wouldn't really recommend this book. And I know it's won an award, and congratulations to her, but I don't know, I just didn't find it fascinating. And I wouldn't recommend the book.